All right. So I want to open the show first by acknowledging the elephant in the room, probably in the world. So the biggest issue today, which is the USFL draft. The, as we all know, Russia went into Ukraine, and that's all over the news right now. So I felt like we would be remiss to not acknowledge it and say that our thoughts are with the people in Ukraine. My family is actually originally is Czech, but the town we're from is now in the Ukraine. So, our thoughts are with them, and we hope that this all turns out not as bad as it might look right now. We're not going to go a lot into that tonight because it's all over the news, and I feel like maybe people need a break today from it. We definitely will be getting into it more in future episodes. There's no doubt about it. But for today, for today's show, we're gonna try to go into different topics. So the first thing I wanted to get into that kind of caught my attention the other day was this pastor, Brian Sauve. I don't know if you know this, Sean, but he what he said on Twitter, let me get it right. He said, Dear ladies, there is no reason whatsoever for you to post pictures of yourself in low-cut shirts, bikinis, bra, and underwear, or anything similar, ever. And that pissed off a lot of people, a lot of women. And, Sean, I was thinking about it. So this whole idea of shaming gets a lot of attention. And listen, I'm completely against bullying and anything like that. And we should all be very nice to each other. But the reality is that's not the world we live in. So when you post something on Instagram, and this pastor, I'm not saying I agreed with everything that he said, but I think that there is some point there that, why are you putting certain kinds of photos on the internet and then you get upset when people shame you? And I don't look at it as shaming, right? So Sean, if me and you posted half naked photos of ourselves on Instagram, we'd be getting some shaming going on towards us.
For sure. Most of the shame will be for myself. First of all, isn't like posting scantily to be a young woman on Instagram, isn't like that the reason you have Instagram? Well, like to like promote yourself in some form or fashion. I'm not necessarily saying in a like professional capacity, but more in like, especially if you're single, just like anything else. Isn't this another like a form of advertisement? In my single, between my divorce and the situation I'm in now, more success than any dating site was social media. I'm interacting with more females through Instagram and Facebook than anything else.
Right.
So like that's a part of it. Secondly, do whatever you want. Like it's your look. It's your body. Do whatever you want with it. I'm very clear. I personally have no care. To what you said about the shame thing, though, I agree that like if you take this picture, think about what it takes to post a picture on Instagram. You take this picture. You probably took 30 versions of this picture. If you've ever seen a girl take a selfie, this is your favorite one. So you've already decided you have this one. Then you upload it on there. You're definitely going to put a caption. You have opportunity to not do this.
Right.
Once you post it, like you've accepted that like anything that's about to come from this is going to come from this, and just take it what it is. And this is why you just shouldn't read the comments.
Well, really, that's what it comes down to. I'm not going to read the comments on our show. I already decided that.
Well, I don't know how to read, so that's good. No,
to what you said,
you were fine with it when you put it up,
right? Well, here's the thing. I completely agree with what you said. It's your body, people. It's your Instagram. You should put whatever you want to put up, but just own that you're putting it out to the world,
right?
So you're putting it up there. I mean, let's be honest. You're putting it up there to get that positive attention. I mean, there's no way you're not.
No one ever complains about the damn girl, you look good with the eggplant emoji comment. No. They complain about the one that's like, you look like a fat slob.
take the 10,000 compliments, and it's always attractive women that are saying they're being shamed. It's not,
Right.
you know,
No, it's never like just some
us.
just absolute
I can't
sloth.
I can't remember the last time I heard a guy said that he was getting shamed on
No,
Instagram.
no,
You
I've
know,
never, well, specifically shamed. No, but like I've never once posted something and been like, man, I can't believe, so and so reacted to me like that. It really hurt my feelings.
right?
Like,
And trust me, everyone gets, and you can only feel shame yourself. You know, like you
yeah,
can't, somebody can't make you feel ashamed. You
right.
know,
Ultimately, we,
they're trolling.
I, correct. I always say that, like, no one can actually push your buttons. You push your own buttons.
Right.
And like, if you feel any emotion you feel, you're feeling. And I'm not saying that like emotions aren't valid. Like things happen, you get angry, you get mad. You know what I mean? Like there is a sequence of things, and we are human beings. But ultimately, what you care about, what J Rock 234 said about your picture. Well, why do you care about why do you care about this person's comment?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't want to disappoint your mother, and your mother's out here being like, you look like a whore, Deborah. All right, well, you did that. You know what I mean? Like, and like I could feel like oh man, I feel ashamed for what I did. But
Right.
why give a fuck? Pardon me.
Right.
Why give a fuck about someone who's maybe at best slightly above the level of a complete stranger thinks about your picture?
Right. Well, what I absolutely, and I think what happens too is that they know that some of the comments are going to be trolls, and then they
Yeah.
post that, and they get a lot of positive. They get a lot of positive quotes about how they hammered the troll. So
Right.
they're getting first, you're getting the positive quote, positive comments, whatever, likes from the post, and then you're getting more of that feedback from when you hammer the one or two trolls that you get. So it's just this loop of trying to get more and more likes. And I think that it's just something to look at for how healthy it is for people
Yeah.
to be so caught up in having to get. It seems like everyone, all of these social media or influencers, so many of them seem to end up having some mental health problems. And
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
just one
like
way to look at it.
it's essentially their job.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like
It is their job. A lot of them,
you
it
know,
is their job.
right. This is their primary source of income. This is what they're doing. And you have you're inundated with it. Like we say, like, for every 100 comments, one probably sucks.
Right.
But when you're getting 100,000 comments, you also have 1,000 shitty comments.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
don't read the fucking comments. You're not posting it really to see, in their case, to see what they're saying. You're posting it to just get the traction.
but I would,
And that's it.
right. I mean, the internet it's an ugly place. And, I would love to have an influencer on here, and talk about how it affects their mental health and, how it affects their life,
Yeah.
but just own it. Whatever you
I'll,
post,
I'll call the influencers I know, and we'll get them on.
there's going to be people that rag on our show, and that's, you have to own it. I'm putting this out there. We're putting this out there to the world. Not everybody's going to love what we're doing or what we're saying. If I posted, let's say a picture with no shirt on, half the comments would be, does that come in a V-neck?
Right. Right. You're not hot under that thing,
Right.
I didn't think you needed a sweater in Florida, like shit like that. Exactly.
And it's kind of true. So
yeah. To touch though on the person who said it.
Right. You can't actually,
where you're coming
from you, Sean.
Where you're coming from,
right,
is that sense of morality. And I listen, I get it. Ultimately, when it comes, the party girl is a lot of fun when you're out here trying to have fun.
Right.
When you want to have Thanksgiving dinner, the party girl is a problem. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right. So speaking of influencers, Logan Paul wants to run for president when he's old enough. I'm not sure.
I mean, they literally everything they do turns to gold.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know which one's Jake Paul and which one's Logan Paul, but I'm fine with either one of them, right?
I want Jake Paul's the one that's winning the boxing matches
Yeah.
against celebrities. Logan
Yeah.
Paul's the one that got beat by Floyd Mayweather, which, hey, you know what? Everybody else did too, you know. So
Yeah. No, that's a good point. So I don't know. We'll see if they actually do it or if it's just something he's saying just to get the attention right now. I think they're only in their 20s, so there's a couple more years.
and listen, I mean, let's be real about the Paul brothers. They're characters,
right?
Like there can't possibly be villain. Like they do live that life, like the way like the Undertaker would only go places as the Undertaker and not as Mark Calloway, because like he didn't want the moment he was Mark Calloway, he's not the Undertaker anymore. You know what I mean? So, but like realistically, like this is a cultivated personality that they've created, both of them, and they're very good at it.
Absolutely.
Like when you're when you're good enough at playing the bad guy that people want to see Floyd Mayweather beat you up, who made all his money on being the bad guy, people wanted to get beat up and no one could do it. You're really good at being the bad guy. Like you're Razor Ramon bad guy level bad guy.
And they are excellent at it. Somebody has to be the heel. Not everybody could be the person saying, the right thing all the time. Somebody has to play that role.
Absolutely.
To have the good guy, to have the Hulk Hogan, you have to have Earthquake and
Earth. Yeah. Name a random fat wrestler from the late 80s through the 80s into the early 90s and pit him against Hulk Hogan, and that was wrestling. But that's the case. That's the case in real life. You like we don't know happiness without sadness. You can't have a good guy without a bad guy. And coming from a guy who has played the bad guy in life,
right?
So like it's but as far as running for president, I mean, you or I could run for president. It doesn't mean anything. Like he's not going to win, and not even on some like just like, oh, he's not going to beat Nate Robinson or whatever in a boxing match. Like he's not going to win. Like 98% or better of the voting population, because it's not the same as the actual population, is not seriously going to consider that. No. Like that's just self-promotion. And if he does run like something like how Kanye ran, Kanye got like 60,000 votes. I've heard Kanye talk. Maybe you don't like him. Maybe you do like him. Maybe you agree with him. Maybe you don't agree with him. Far better suited to be the president than either one of the Paul brothers.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to gauge.
1,000 votes. He'll sell more copies of an album than actually get votes.
Yeah.
Just like these guys will get more pay-per-view buys from these carnival sideshow boxing events they put on than actual votes. Like that's a real thing,
But imagine that it looked like a carnival at first, and then now he actually is a legitimate boxer.
Oh, he's like the younger one,
right?
Like
right,
has some like legitimate like ability. Like when at first it was just like, all right, you beat up a short basketball player, but then he's and maybe some people say he took a dive or whatever. He just knocked down an MMA fighter twice. One time cold, like down to his face, cold, like they had to wake him up and tell him what happened. Type of knockout. You know what I mean? Like, so there's something there, but like, fight a real boxer. Like, like I know boxing is part of MMA, but steering into the sports there a little bit with that. But
right. Yeah. Let's save that for round 2. All right. So I'm at McDonald's the other day and I noticed this new sandwich, the Land, Air, and Sea something burger sandwich. I don't know what they're calling it. I didn't buy it, but it made me think of, what are some of the weirder fast foods that you can remember?
The Land, Air, and Sea, like exactly what is on this sandwich, Jonathan?
probably could have had that up. You want? I'm gonna look it up. All right.
I thought you ordered it.
No, I mean, I know what it was. It was a burger. One patty is chicken, one's a burger, and one's fish.
Fish. So the
It's
three
on a-
staples of the McDonald's. Have you ever had the fish fillet?
I love the fish fillet.
Fish fillet is
I'm all
good.
about that.
Have you ever had the McChicken?
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I'd imagine you've had a cheeseburger at McDonald's before, right?
Right. So where are you going with this? Where are we going?
Why not order all three of them together in one shot?
I don't know.
Have you ever combined two of those things? Like not literally physically combine them into one sandwich, but have you ever ordered like a cheeseburger and a chicken sandwich, or a chicken sandwich and the fish sandwich?
No.
So you're sticking to one form of protein when you go to the.
I mean, aren't most of us doing that?
Yeah. Are you judging me?
Are you saying are you saying you've done that?
No, I mean I've gotten a McChicken like and a cheeseburger.
And
I don't listen. McDonald's is a tough one for me because
you ate them separately, right?
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you physically took them apart and combined them and made them one sandwich. No. I'm saying like you've ordered two separate sandwiches and ate one and then ate another one.
So you're saying why not combine them?
Why not? I mean, they're combining somewhere.
Well, somebody must be buying it for them to put it on the menu.
Somebody, what was happening? Somebody was doing this and then suggested this. And then it
well, they did it so that we'd be talking about it.
But you want like McDonald's to me of the fast food restaurants, they have the best fries. Other than the Mac sauce, if McDonald's stopped existing and no one said anything, I don't think I'd be upset.
No.
I would go to Burger King before McDonald's. I would go to Wendy's before McDonald's. And like, mind you, like I'm not even bringing in like my favorite fast food joints. Like if it's fucking Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I would miss Chick-fil-A or the Polynesian sauce. I would miss.
I have a bottle of Polynesian sauce in my refrigerator.
Everybody should.
Yeah, but weird menu items. McDonald's used to have wings.
I feel like that was pretty recent.
They were called Mighty Wings. It's in like the last 10 years. And I used to get them all the time. They never came back. And like I was aware, like this is like a gross thing. And another one, like you say weird fast food items. It's like, but what about fast food makes the item weird? Like, okay, the combination of those three things is immediately you get taken back. You're like, fish, chicken, and beef on the same sandwich. What? I'd try it. But I say all the time, like one of the things I get at White Castle is clam strips. And sometimes people are like, clam strips at McDonald's or at White Castle. If you get clam strips at a diner or a seafood place or at the grocery store or White Castle, it's all the exact same thing. I'm not buying lobster at White Castle. I'm buying clam strips. That's the ocean equivalent of fucking jalapeno poppers. You know what I mean? Like, it's a piece of clam, questionably, that's breaded, and then you fry it, and then you eat it with tartar sauce. Like it doesn't change. So like I feel like fast food joints like get away with that luxury of having these items that otherwise might seem strange. Like Chick-fil-A just came out with some sort of fajita soup. I said, that's how good fucking Chick-fil-A is. They're going to serve a chicken fajita soup now. And people will buy it. Because you're like, oh, it's Chick-fil-A. They get everything right.
Right. Well, let me give you a couple examples here. All right.
Yeah, please.
Pizza Hut in Hong Kong had a flying fish roe salmon cream cheese pizza.
Hold on. The key in that whole sentence, Hong Kong.
Right. Most of these items actually are going to come from there.
Right. They're not eating, like McDonald's doesn't look like the same thing over there.
Yeah. There's definitely different. There's a different.
Right. They're not like it's a different clientele. Like they couldn't get away with the double quarter pounder with cheese, you know? Oh, and while we're on the topic, the Big Mac is the single most overrated fast food item in the world. Fight me.
Yeah, I never had one till recently, and I agree.
The patty is tiny. There's two of them, so like they're tricking you into thinking there's a lot of that on there. You have like I would have loved to have sat in years ago on the decision behind this and just watch the people like pitch this idea. Be like, all right, we got a burger, right? Got a sesame top here, got a bun. There's 2 burgers. There's a piece of cheese, an obscene amount of lettuce. I'm talking open the container, can of snakes, amount of lettuce. And we're going to put that special sauce on there. And he's like, oh, what's that? Why is that any different than any other burger we can make like that? Like, we're going to put a second bottom bun between the beef patties. And people go, that's it. And I've told you this before, John. A bad idea is not 100% on the person who comes up with it. It's 50% on the first person who said that's a good idea. And the Big Mac sucks.
But greatest commercial.
Oh, I mean, like everybody, 2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
That's what did it.
Right.
It's not the food. You're eating the commercial.
Basically. Right. Oh, well, you're eating the colors too, and like McDonald's. Like if they're good at one thing, it was fucking branding. They knew what they're doing. Ray Kroc is a genius.
Absolutely great.
And all he did was steal that from 2 other people.
And that was a great movie. And
I love Michael Keaton.
History Channel had a great thing on the foods that made America, and
it was really the essential start of.
Highly recommend it.
Us becoming an instant gratification based society. It was fast food.
All right, so round 1, we're getting close to the end here. Let me hit a few more of these items here. A Windows 7 Whopper in Japan, which was 7 patties to celebrate Windows 7.
Fat Frankie once ate at about 4 a.m. after a night of drinking all of the Whopper patties they had left at the Goshen Burger King. And there was 7, I believe there were 7 patties, each with a piece of cheese on them. I've never been more impressed and appalled at the same time in Frank. It was amazing to watch.
The most slices of pizza I've ever seen anybody eat was also by Frankie.
24. And
it was 24. Wow.
It came up
memory
some years ago, and he said it was 24 slices. And I go, you realize that's 3 whole pizzas?
Yeah,
and there was like that moment of silence we just had, that hit. And it was like the realization of 12-year-old Frank Zuzutek ate 3 whole pizzas at a thing for the school. Like,
we both remember that moment.
I love that guy. I love that
me
guy.
too. Yeah, me too. All right, last item, and we'll move on from this, is the Kit Kat sandwich, which was in Japan. It was whipped cream, an orange peel, and a Kit Kat in between 2 slices of white bread.
I love that they spruced it up with an orange peel.
Was it a garnish, or was that actually part of the sandwich? I don't know.
That's like a little guy, my stepson here, Jax. He loves this. I call it a dessert sandwich. It's peanut butter, Nutella, and fluff. And the other day he tried to get me to make it without the peanut butter, and I was like, buddy, that's essentially cake. Like you can't have that for lunch. Like you're obligated to have peanut butter on here.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree with you. All right. So one more for this round. The Congresswoman, there was a Congresswoman, I don't have her name in front of me, who during a sleepover, her daughter's sleepover, she got drunk and threw up in a hamper. And that's been in the news. She's been apologizing for that. She's saying she mixed, I think it was wine with medication that was trying to help her sleep. So she ended up hallucinating. My feeling, some of these issues, I know we love to drag politicians through the ringer, but I mean, sometimes people just make a mistake. I mean, if she had
that's the first point. Like, when did these people become above reproach? Like, they're just human beings too. Like, would it be any different if a random stay-at-home mom took sleeping pills and drank too much wine and threw up at her daughter's sleepover? No, it wouldn't be any different. Like, oh, she's a congresswoman. Like, she's supposed to be like she's some sort of deity. Like,
but she's running, so she's not elected yet.
Well, that's probably not good. That's probably not going to help for sure.
Yeah. I don't actually know what party she's in, but
I'd love to find the person who saw that story and then goes, you know what, she got my vote now. Like this thing swayed them to pick her. Like you know what, regular broad.
That's why we have you on the show for takes like that.
Right.
Yes. All right, we got one more on the list here. Space flights for sale to the public.
Is it really to the public though?
Well, if you have $450,000.
Exactly. It's like during the Super Bowl there was 900 electric car ads, like as though we're all electric car level, income. Like the 110 million people watch the Super Bowl. I guarantee you 100 million of them are not interested in buying an electric car. But there was a disproportionate amount of ads for it. Same thing. Like you're going to space. Like, listen, if money was no option, I would 100% go. Let's start with that. Like, and even if you told me it's 50-50, you'll die. I'm like, it's fucking space. Go to space? How many people have gone to space? Billions and billions of people have lived on this planet, and how many have gone to space? So I would go, but space flights to the public is a stretch on exactly what you're offering here. Like to non-astronauts, yeah, okay, that's accurate. But like if you have an expendable $250,000 to go to space, like nothing about you is an average Joe.
But do you get to pick who you go with? I mean, think of who you sit next to on a regular flight.
Well, does $250 buy you 1 or 2 seats?
I think it's $450 for 1. I think.
Now you even got less people.
But who do you want to sit next to in outer space? I don't know.
I've never, people I was getting on the plane with, like aside, like I've never sat on a flight next to somebody and been like, man, I'm glad I sat next to that guy. Although, funny you bring this up, my brother's good friend is a lifelong Mets fan. He lives in Los Angeles. My brother was flying home to Rochester. This is only a couple weeks ago. Gets on the flight, sits on the plane. It's a 5-hour flight. And do you know who he got to talk to for 5 hours? Minutes with Doc Gooden. I'd be like, was Lenny Dykstra as much of a psychopath as he comes off as? You know what I mean? Like, he had 5 hours. So if you get a flight, I mean, you get like that, then yeah. Then that makes all the world of difference in the world.
I would definitely have been interested to talk to him. So we haven't done the show since the Super Bowl. So I don't know if Sean, if you felt like doing a little bit of a Super Bowl recap. I know we're a little bit about a week past it, but still worth recapping and what you thought of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this was the greatest NFL playoffs of my lifetime. Bar none. Wild card weekend. It was like a movie where like you watch the first act of the movie and you're like, I'm going to keep watching, but like, okay. And then everything after that is fantastic. There wasn't a bad game after the opening weekend. The Bills Chiefs game, that might have been the best football game I've ever seen. Like really good game with 2 minutes to go that went bananas in the final 2 minutes in overtime. And it was like that every game the rest of the way. Last minute, last possession, overtime, and I love that coming down the stretch after Beckham got hurt and they just kept stalling out on offense, the Rams, and it was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. Stop it. You know, like
well, that to me was
who brung you, you know? And I'm glad for Matt Stafford.
No, absolutely. He's a great sport. You know, I've seen a lot of these clips where, you know, end of the game, he goes up to the guy. Well, actually the Lions, right? He went up to the Lions after the game and said, you know, you guys played well. The defense played well. I'm really cheering you guys on. You know, he's just a good dude.
Just not when he's drunk at the parade and
that was like the Congress. That was like the woman running for Congress. You know,
but
the girl fell off stage, but he was drunk. And
look at the difference though.
I don't think that's how he is.
When you're going 6-10 every year and your team's out of the playoff hunt before December, moments like that don't get nearly scrutinized as they do when you win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like,
it definitely was a bad look. I mean, he
it's
looks
that
at her, she falls off the stage, she ends up injuring her spine. It definitely was a bad look. But those guys, that's their moment when they let loose. He probably didn't drink the whole year.
and they were partying. Aaron Donald run around no shirt on. Sean McVay was a little loose. Like they were. And listen, I ain't mad at them.
Yeah, I mean, they work hard.
I'd have been like, work party. How many times you been to a work function, a work Christmas party, and somebody got hammered?
Yeah, I've actually I haven't been to too many. I'm in my profession, but
I'm sure it was kind of a setup.
Yeah,
but no,
thank you for that.
Listen, I've been to them. You know what I mean? I've gotten a little loose at a work party. But it's yeah, it was almost like a shame to see that like oh, they're really getting on them. I'm like, well,
which they are paying for the women's medical
expenses,
bills,
which is nice. That is nice. But game itself was really good. Not like one of the greatest Super Bowls I ever saw, but it was very good. You know what I mean? Like tight to the end. Only that tight because what's his name for the Bengals? Now I'm drawing a blank. Absolutely twisted Jalen Ramsey's head off and pulled him to the ground on that touchdown. And they didn't get that call. Like, if the Bengals win that game, and you're on the Rams, that's all I'd be talking about. Like how do we miss this? Because of how egregious the face mask was.
Every big game seems to have one of those calls.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe how many people were riding with the Bengals. As somebody that lived in Cincinnati, I could not believe that the amount of people that were betting on the Bengals to win that game.
They were hot. I mean, not that the Rams won; they won the same number of games, but they're ahead of schedule, if you will, on where they need to be. You know what I mean? Like the kid Burrow, I can't speak highly enough of. I love the moxie. I love the swag. Right. I love the drip, as the kids would say, the way he dresses there. And but he has like everything you want in that role. And Jamar Chase is phenomenal. So I could see the love and people tend to love the underdog and the Rams have been good for a couple of years now. You know what I mean? Like they went all in on winning this Super Bowl this year. The Bengals, they won what? 5 games, 6 games the last 2 years before this year. Like playoffs. Like, no, they weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs. Like at the beginning of the year.
Some books had them as the biggest underdog.
They lost to the Jets during the regular season.
Yeah. The Bengals did not beat a winning team until I believe January 2nd of the regular season.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think.
Except for Kansas City. They may have beaten Kansas City. I don't know if the Chiefs had a winning record at that point. Maybe one game, but for the most part,
that was January 2nd.
It might have been.
Yeah.
So, my feeling on it too was that Vegas had all the money that was bet on this game was on the Bengals. Everybody was riding Burrow. The Rams didn't get any attention. Yeah. And it was funny at the end of the game, there was no penalties called pretty much the whole game. And then if you remember at the very end of the game,
it went crazy.
Yeah, it was that call near the end of the game when
3 plays in a row at the end of that down there.
That's right.
3 plays in a row. There was a penalty, at least one. One penalty was one on both teams. But
I'm not saying anything is fixed, or anything like that. But I do feel like,
I mean, if you look at the rules, like he's pulling on Cooper Kupp, and at that point they knew they missed that face mask.
So they're making up for it.
That's definitely a real thing. The get back call. That's 100%. Like that. Like anything close, they had that in their pocket. Like, and if you're the Bengals, you can't. How you complain about the penalties at the end? The only thing you did in the second half was that 75-yard touchdown on the first play. By the way, first play from scrimmage in Super Bowl history to either start the game or the half with a touchdown on the first play from scrimmage. That play.
I didn't know
The
that.
more you know.
Yeah. You are a wealth of knowledge, Sean.
Quite useless stuff too.
Yeah. My feeling is that, and again, I'm just bullshitting here, but I don't know if there's how it works, the king of Vegas or somebody where if all the money is on one team, I'm not saying that the game is fixed, but I think they probably always have one guy that's there's no way this is happening guy.
No, for sure. Listen, Vegas knows what they're doing, though. And they know what they're doing. The amount of pushes they get, you would think, like in betting, like where like the line is hit, is much higher than you would think through all of the sports. So like when a team's favored by 8 points and they go out there and blow their doors off by 20, like you think like, oh, the line was way off or whatever. But far more often than not, it's within reason of what the actual final score was.
Oh, you're right. All right. So moving on from the Super Bowl, Brian Flores has sued the NFL. And in the time that he had the lawsuit, he actually just got hired in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So
still suing.
Yeah.
Still suing. I don't blame him.
No.
When he got fired from the Dolphins, I remember thinking, how did this happen? Like, why did he get fired? He came there, and this team, it was like one of the worst kept secrets in sports that they were like actively trying to lose. We didn't know to the extent of how active it was yet, but it was like, is this team trying to deliberately throw games to improve their draft position? The issue with that is obviously you're bringing up, competitive balance and the integrity of the game, because if, you have a team that's trying to lose every game and one team plays them and one team doesn't, that's like a free win. But even through that, he coached those guys up the second half of that year to like a level of respectability. And then over the last 2 years, the Dolphins haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since Dan Marino, maybe?
Yeah, this was the first time since then.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you fire this guy? Oh, there's fundamental disagreements or something like that, the way they put it. It's like, and they made it seem like he was a problem. And I go, well, maybe, like, I'm not in these rooms. And then, like, as more came out, like, they offer him $100,000 for every loss. And then trying to get him to talk to, an unnamed quarterback and then saying he wouldn't do it. And then
who now has a
lunch with him on the yacht. And, oh, look, guess who's going to be here in 20 minutes? Said unnamed quarterback. And he wouldn't mess with the league's tampering rule. So, like, I get it. And then, like the biggest part of this is like the sham of these interviews that he went on. His Giants interview, like, how does he even go? Like, Bill Belichick texting him and thinking he was texting Brian Daboll.
And we have those texts.
Put them up if you have them.
Yeah.
Like, if you just look at this, like, oh, here's something I didn't. Giants, if you're from Buffalo and New York, you're their guy. And right there, you got to know Flores is thinking, Buffalo? What does Buffalo have to do with this? That's what I want, Coach. Coach, are you talking to Brian Flores or Brian Daboll? And I love that Belichick's response, like, sorry, I fucked this up. Like, because we've all sent the wrong text message to the wrong person before. Never quite to this standard, you know what I mean? But, like, his interview with the Giants was nothing. And then he come out and when he interviewed for the Broncos job before he had the the Dolphins job. Said Elway was hungover, everybody was hungover, and Elway admitted to them during the interview, was like, "Oh, we had a long night drinking last night." What? Like because you
Well,
already had your
they
guy.
denied that.
I would deny it too. But you already had your guy, and this was just for show. And it brings up whether the Rooney Rule is good or bad.
It's funny because at the beginning of the Rooney Rule, I think you could kind of see this coming, that this was going to be a problem where teams already, and not even as extreme as the Flores situation, which I completely support, what he's saying and what he's doing, but just teams that already knew, like the Raiders that already knew they wanted to hire Gruden. So every white and black coach and every coach in between was just going there. Didn't matter. And right. That's happened a couple times.
It's because they can't just interview one guy.
Right. So,
so like I said, like, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, because like, I feel like, the league is predominantly black player wise, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not NBA black, but it's, mostly African-American. How many minority coaches? One's Lebanese. Okay. Ron Rivera is Hispanic. Mike Tomlin's never going to lose that job. He'll leave when he wants to, and he should. Great coach. He's black. Lovie Smith does have a coaching reputation. It's not like he would like. You could be like, well, look, I mean, the Bears. The Bears went to the playoffs a bunch of times. This and that. He had some success there. We're going to ride with him. Like, this is after the Flores thing, so it's like, of course, you're going to get asked, like, does this have anything to do with what Brian Flores is alleging? Probably, yeah. But also, you can hide behind the fact that he has like a track record of some head coaching success in the NFL. The kid who just got hired by the Dolphins, he's half black. And I only know that because they said it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not, it doesn't look that, not that, that's a certain way you would look like if your mom was white and your dad was black in his case, but like it was said, and that's why I know it. Otherwise, if you just showed me a picture of him, I was like, oh, another white guy, and so you're 5 out of 32 jobs. Like how many black GMs are there?
Well, and that's what I was going to add. I think that the Rooney Rule is a mix. I mean, you have 7, I believe, presidents or general managers that are now people of color. Mm-hmm. I believe they're all, the 7 are all black. I'm not sure if any are of a different background. The issue, I think what Brian Flores is saying that's so great is that he's hitting the reality of the issue. When we talk about, and I saw on the episode of the Chop Up that you were on, and you had said that, I don't have a racist bone in my body. And I think there's a lot of people that are that way, that are not racist, but we all have biases we all have biases, and it doesn't mean that we have them consciously. Yeah. And what Flores is doing is saying, hey, like, he's trying to get them to acknowledge it, get people to acknowledge their biases so that he can make the league better. He's not trying to tear down the NFL. He's still in the NFL.
Right. He's not trying to destroy this thing. He wants what they're saying they're giving to actually be what they're giving. And it's an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, and I am all about the opportunity.
Yeah.
The quality of opportunity. We should all be given the same chance. We start talking about equality of outcome. That's where, all right, it has to be merit-based. You know what I mean? Like,
there's nothing that can be done to stop, and people have not acknowledged this. I think maybe Flores did. I'm not sure. That the owners are going to hire who they want to hire. There's no way to there's nothing you can do about that. Nobody's ever going to say I hired this person because they're white or, because they look like me
or anything for that matter.
They're going to say, oh, he's great. offensive coordinator. He's a great young mind.
Right.
They're going to
They're
say
going to speak up the like business positives
right.
of why. No one's
Anything
going to be like, well, honestly, we looked around and said there's not enough black guys coaching NFL teams, so we were like, we got to get us a black guy. Like that. No one's going to say it like that or say something to that nature.
So what Flores is doing is so great is basically saying getting people to give people a chance that look different than they do. Because a lot of times, people will like something more if it's said by somebody that looks like them or sounds like them. As an example of a bias, I think if we meet someone from New York, right, it's like, oh, he's a New Yorker. There's a lot of terrible people from New York, but
right.
Well, if you're from New York, our automatic thing might be like, oh, hey, he's like me or she's like me. She's from New York, but
in fact, the bias of people not from New York is that most people from New York are terrible people. So, not untrue. Maybe 50, we're an acquired taste for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's great. What's interesting too about his case is that it's a class action lawsuit, so other people can join in if they feel like they've also been dealing with.
Hugh Jackson. You're telling me the Browns weren't like trying to line his pockets to be like lose. Like,
yeah.
I mean, not that it's ever been hard for that franchise to lose, but like,
I'm interested to see the outcome.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Tom Brady has just bought a couple of Tom Brady stories going on. Tom Brady has bought a mansion. It's in the middle of construction, where you need a bridge to get to the mansion. And it's in Miami, not Tampa, interestingly.
Why not?
What do you think, Sean?
If you got the money, you know what I mean? Like he's, I tried to find a picture of it, but it's obviously it isn't built yet. And he definitely has new construction money. You know what I mean? He's not going to be on a Fixer Upper with Chip and Joanna Gaines on the Magnolia Network. You know what I mean? Like it's not, he's not living that kind of life. Honestly, if I
would watch that though. I would watch him pick between 3 Superman. I would 100% watch that. All right. So now I'd like to bring on our esteemed guest.
Hey, we have friends.
Yeah, we do. A few. Hopefully we'll still have friends.
I haven't completely alienated everyone in life.
I think we've done all right.
I'm still only 38, so
yeah, that's right. I'm old. I'm 39 already, so actually,
it's coming.
Older than you. Yeah,
it's coming. By the time
right, so we didn't think that there would be a better guest to have for our first episode than our producer, Sicky Nix. He started this network, we're gonna let him know just talk to him and see what he's got to say. All right. Welcome to the show, Sicky Nix.
Hey, look at the shirt. That's purposeful. That was purposeful, sir. That was purposeful. I ain't mad at it. This Red Auerbach looking motherfucker with a cigar.
How you doing, Sicky Nix?
Oh, I had myself muted. What's up, fellas?
I was gonna say, I think can't hear you. Got the Chiefs hat on.
Yeah, always got it in the background here.
Right, coming off of what we said too. Like that's another one. People don't like that name, but like Chief is the boss of the Indians. It's not a.
Well, yeah, I mean, but Chief Indian is like a derogatory term. Chief isn't. Chief is describing like the leader of the, you know what I mean. So it's not. The names, the sports teams' names that are offensive are ones that are like you were talking about. If it's an animal or if it's the name of someone, if it's the presidents, it's not offensive. But if it's like the Caucasians, it might be.
Yeah. No. Well, no one would be mad. No one would get upset about that at all.
No, I mean,
I love that the Braves said, like, listen, we're going to do away with the whole tomahawk chop at the games. We're not going to give the tomahawks anymore, but we're not going to change the name because honestly, what's a greater compliment than being brave?
I personally have more of a problem with the Nashville Predators than any other. I just think it's a really really, that's what you guys want to
As a Predator, you're personally triggered by the fact that the Nashville Predators
Yeah, I mean,
is their name.
if I have to be on a list, so do they. So that's, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't know. What other teams in history have changed that were offensive? Has there been any other ones?
I don't think so. But that's also a new thing. Like, and not, I mean, 20 years they've been talking about Redskins and Indians. You know what I mean? So like, when I say new, it's obviously not like a knee-jerk reaction. Like there's been momentum building to this over the last couple of decades. But, and again, with the Braves thing, I love that they wanted to do it Tomahawk Chop. If you watched any game in the World Series this year in Atlanta, everybody in that place, like you can't stop them if they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. Like, just say we don't approve of it.
Do not approve. But hey man, that people are gonna celebrate how they celebrate. Nothing you can do with that. I think the NFL is full of conspiracies. I don't know if you guys listened to the episode a couple weeks ago where I was talking about it. You know, like when after 9/11 the Patriots win the Super Bowl, after Katrina the Saints win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this whole the Redskins dropping their name, making it the Washington football team for a year, selling all that new merch. And now they're going to be in Washington, Commanders or something. So now they have to resell all the merch again. It's like, man, that was like dirty.
Right. In the last if you're a Redskins fan, football team fan, Guardians fan, whatever, in the last 4 years, you'll have had 3 different hats.
It's wild.
You'll have had 3 different jackets. You know, like maybe get away with the jersey because, you know, although it did say Redskins here.
Look what we're not talking about. That all the scandals they've had with the cheerleaders and the sexual harassment. And, you know, that to me, I mean, the name I don't particularly love, Commanders, but I think the bigger issue is how they're actually, besides the logo, but how they're treating actual people.
Like, what do you mean? I need to hear about this.
Well, so the owner, there was a lot of like issues with just not paying the cheerleaders, taking naked pictures of them without their consent, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, see, they get in trouble for the name, but no one says anything to this guy about doing dirty shit.
I mean, they are getting investigated, but the NFL didn't really release much about. They got a fine, which I think was like $1 million or 10 million, which to Schneider wasn't much for someone that's a billionaire. But you know,
slap me on the wrist and here's a quarter.
Yeah, right. And nobody really released what was in the findings. All we know is that John Gruden said some things, but besides that, nothing really, you know, came out about I mean, the owner still kept the team. Everybody, I think, with Washington kept their jobs. You know, the only person that had a penalty was Gruden, who wasn't even ever hired by them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, because none of them said anything bad about a group of minorities, and I'm not saying it's okay to say those things.
Didn't he say something like 10 years ago?
I think your point, you know, to what you're saying is that people are more focused on words than action. So they could actually assault. I'm not saying they assaulted women, but I'm making an analogy that somebody can assault somebody, and if there's no video and they deny it, they'll get away with that faster than if you have a tweet.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't like it. You had something to add there, Sean?
I was going to say, Nick, when are you back on? When can we see you again?
I thought that was you signing off. I'm like, man, that was abrupt.
I thought for a second I was like,
oh. He's like, okay, end of show. I'm like, oh, bye. I do the chop up every Tuesday night with Big Johnny Bowles and Johnny
Bowles, yeah.
Do something similar to you guys. You guys are a little more formatted. We kind of stick to like movie news, comic book stuff, sports, entertainment. Like we don't get into politics too much. Try to keep it light and breezy. And then we bring in fun guests. We had a girl on that did trivia a couple weeks ago. We had the world's greatest Macho Man impersonator. We had Sean on. So we're starting to bring in some really interesting people, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm glad you guys are joining the team. We got a whole other vibe over here. I love all the '90s nostalgia you got going on with the setup. So
Oh, Larry Legend on today.
there you go.
Victor Oladipo,
One
one of his 10 teams.
caliber player.
All right. Sicky Nix, thank you for being on. We look forward to hopefully having you back in the
Thank
future.
you for having us on the network. And I look forward to the cross-pollination of the shows as well.
Cross the streams. That's what I'm saying. All right, fellas.
Fucking
Wait,
Ghostbusters.
Aren't you not supposed to cross the streams? I don't know.
Ultimately, that's how they defeated Gozer. So,
yeah. All right, brothers, hang in there. I'm going to sign off, and then we'll do a little after show hangout. All right. I hope everyone enjoyed our first episode of 90 Minutes You'll Never Get Back with John and Sean, and we will see you next week.